let's ignore for now the definition of a hate incident or hate crime and how hate is a human emotion, not a crime in itself. And let's put aside the fact that a huge number of hate crimes are actually hoaxes. Sounds like a vast majority are hoaxes. I put it to you that a great number are hoaxes or exaggerations, but let's take it at face value. So who are the victims of this hate? Well, that's the Statistics Canada poster that I mentioned a moment ago. Here it is here, infographic, police reported hate crime in Canada 2021. It was just released last week, so it's the most current. So as you can see, the number of police reported hate crimes increased 27% in the second year of the pandemic, they say. I'm not sure what the pandemic has to do with it, but I have an idea. I'll tell you in a minute. Do you see those red dots? It looks like hate crimes have actually skyrocketed under Justin Trudeau, up from 1,362 in Stephen Harper's last year to 3,360 in 2021. Yeah, I'm not sure what the pandemic has to do with it. I think it is more relevant that Trudeau has tried his best to divide us based on race and gender and sexual orientation and everything else. It's Trudeau, not the pandemic, to blame. He's divided us and attacked us and made it very lucrative for people to be offended, hasn't he? Now, if you look at the chart on the left, you see that hate crimes against black people were actually down 5% in that year. And the number of hate crimes, that's the number on the left-hand chart, and that's the actual number of reported hate crimes or suspected crimes, I think it's actually sort of low. I find it encouraging. So for black people, the total number in the entire country for the entire year was just over 600, real or suspected. Now, I don't want any hate crimes, of course, or any other crimes. But in a country of 38 million people, that's not even 2 a day in the whole country. It's not an epidemic, that's for sure. For Indigenous people, the grand total number looks like it is around 60 in the whole country, in the whole year. Again, I don't like any hate crimes, real or imagined, but I have to say those numbers sound low to me, especially considering Trudeau talks about it nonstop. Look at the chart on the right. That's by religion now. The first thing you'll notice is that the most hate-crimed group in Canada is actually the Jews. Raw numbers, it's almost 500, which is, I think it's actually high, given that Jews are not even 1% of the Canadian population. More Jews were targeted than any other religion combined. There's almost 2 million black people in Canada. For comparison, there's just over 350,000 Jews, and they had almost the same number of reported hate crimes. In fact, as you can see, Jewish hate crimes targeting Jews was up 47%. I wonder if Laith Marouf had a hand in that. Now, hate crimes against Jews were the most numerous, and they grew, according to this, by 47%. But look at who are the second most numerous, and whose numbers grew by a whopping 260%. Not Muslims. They were at just over 100 hate crimes. Again, I don't want any hate crimes against anyone, even though there were some very famous hate crime hoaxes in the Muslim community. But look at that Catholic number. Up 260% in 1 year, so much that their raw number vaulted them into second place. And just for a moment, look at the far bottom of the chart. Hate crimes against sexual orientation in 2021 were a grand total of 423. It was up, but neither in percentage terms nor in raw numbers up as much as hate crimes against Catholics. Again, I don't know how many of these cases were real and how many were hoaxes, but I do know that close to 100 churches in Canada were torched or vandalized in some other way after Trudeau whipped up public anger against them, claiming that the churches were to blame for crimes against Indigenous people. Gerald Butts even tweeted his support of the church torchings, or at least that he found them understandable. There was no condemnation, no RCMP press conference, no government commission into anti-Catholic bigotry, no special funding or investigations. Silence in the main. I'm against hate crimes against anyone. I'm against all crimes. I'm especially against hate crime hoaxes. Because, like, say, a false accusation of rape, they make people less likely to believe the real accusation of rape. A false hate crime report trivializes and devalues real victims. Justin Trudeau has presided over the doubling of hate crimes in Canada. And in 1 year alone, he presided over the 260% growth in hate crimes against Catholics. And not only does he not care, I think he sort of likes it. That was an excerpt from the Ezra Levant show. I'm Ezra Levant. Every weekday, I do a monologue about the topic of the day. Then I interview a fascinating guest either in studio or via Skype. And then I read your mail, whether it's fan mail or hate mail, which is sometimes even more interesting. This is on our premium service, though, called Rebel News Plus. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. It's $8 a month or less if you buy a whole year in advance. You get my show every weeknight, plus Sheila Gunn Reid's show every week. It's called The Gun Show. It's pretty amazing. You know, we rely on you because we do not take a dime from the government. In Canada, that makes us almost unique. So please help us out and help yourself to some great journalism at rebelnewsplus.com.